Michelle. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, with that, I'll call the meeting to order.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda for October 24, 2023. Yes. Second that.
Okay, I got a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for October 17th, 2023.
Second that.
Okay, we got a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meetings attended. Sean, have you got anything?
Yeah, I went to the Board of Health on Wednesday. Roxanne turned in her officially announced to the board and turned in her resignation. I believe she told me it was November. Well, I think it was November 12th. I didn't bring my notes with me. We went over a lot of the things. She recommended moving Leah McElhaney up to interim director. And then
Good choice.
Robin is gonna be nurse supervisor, basically. And then Brandy's gonna she does a lot of the financial stuff. So she's taking a little bit off of Leah's plate to do that. And the three of them said they were all there and they said they'd step up and make it happen. They're going to advertise within the county that position, Roxanne's position. And then my assumption is, of course, that Leah's gonna apply as well. I don't know that there's anybody within the county that has those qualifications to be that person. So we'll go through that period and then the board will select a director.
Now, what's the long term of the state? I heard rumors that the reason that she looked at this is down the road for public health is probably gonna go to the state. What's
That really wasn't brought up.
Okay.
I think for her, it's a stepping stone. I don't think it was
No.
her protecting her job. I think it was a stepping stone and she gets to work from home, so.
Yeah. And I see all the raises were for the extra responsibility.
Yes, that's exactly how that worked out.
I get it.
We wish her the best and we'll see how that all works out. So other than that, it was.
Yeah, I think we're in good hands. We're gonna miss her and she's always been a great asset to the
Yeah,
county.
she took the Board of Health to the next level.
I agree with that.
But Leah was trained underneath her, and so I think it'll be business as usual. I think it'll work out well.
Great people.
Yeah, that's all I had.
I had couple meetings last week. I had community action. That went well. That had to chair that one. We got out of there pretty quick. But a lot of things going on down there and hopefully get some more stuff in our community, but looking at senior housing, daycare, a lot of just touching all bases, but just allocations of monies and trying to keep more coming in for the senior help as far as energy savings for the winter. We're expecting more since the bills are going up, a lot more needs to fulfill this year. Our LP tank has 4,100 gallons in it. I checked that Thursday. So we got to get down around 2,500 gallons. So we got a well yet. So to get a transport load, that's a 10,000 gallon tank.
Yeah, it'll be now between now and the first year, probably.
There was a report that it was a little warm over there. Did they get that resolved?
I called and talked to down in Burlington, can't think of their name.
Millard.
Yeah, about checking that out, but it was not just a little warm.
Yeah.
It was a lot warm.
No,
And
we told
that's,
them, open the windows tonight, open the doors.
it was hot. We had to open the doors up for a 911 meeting. It was terrible. But,
Next time, don't complain about being cold.
911 meeting, we had that next. And basically, we didn't have enough people for a quorum. And we gotta do something different because that's I think since I've been on it, about a year now. I took it over late last fall, when Randy was leaving. And I think we've had 3 meetings without a quorum, so we're gonna go through and look at that. I mean, everybody met, couldn't get any decisions done, it's just a pain that we have to bring people from all over the counties to do that, so. We're gonna work on that. We had a transfer station meeting that night. We okayed a bid for Cohen Construction. I think it was like $25,000 less to do the bunker, trying to get that orchestrated now to do the bunkers. The bunkers have to be in place by 1st of December. So keep the state, so we're pushing. And we'll get it. And then Thursday on transfer station, we're having scale issues again. One of the platforms is rusted. They're gonna fix that. It was over there yesterday. They didn't hear any more issues from it. Joe said she'd call me if there was any stubbornness coming out of the scale repair people like we usually get, but there wasn't. She didn't call. Went to that EMA training meeting over at Columbus Junction. That was a good informative meeting. Lasted about I think just shy of a couple hours. A lot of things coming up, railroad and everything else is coming up, and then I'm gonna work more. Brian is that for storms and try to get into a system where they can evacuate areas and needs through the cell phone system, and trying to get more people to campaign to get more people to sign up for that notification, like we did over at Columbus Junction when we had criminals loose. That I guess that worked out pretty well, and I can see the need of it. I think that's everything.
I got a couple things, if you got a moment. I was out at the transfer station. It looks like you raised some ground on the north end. What was the purpose of raising that?
Flood area.
Doesn't that force the water over?
No, it's not a water drainage issue, it's a floodplain issue. And that taper to go back toward the ditch out in front. Everything on that back concrete is 6 inches below what the DNR says it's in the flood area, and you can't have waste in the flood area, recyclables, anything on the ground.
So is the building itself still higher than that? Looks like lower.
The building is good. It's the concrete.
Where they put the recyclables?
Yeah, and our floor with a transfer station.
So how did raising the north side make that better?
Because we're gonna move everything to the north
Oh,
side.
you're gonna move, okay.
The bunker's
Alright.
going over
That
there,
makes sense now.
and everything on the other side, we'll probably keep the floor there, but we'll probably put up another building on that new.
Okay, there's some standoff pipes there. Is there a?
On the backside,
Yeah,
that's the septic.
okay.
That's the septic we had to put in. Is either that we had to pump, put a dam around it, and then everything that went in there, if any water touched the waste, we had to treat it as we had to haul it away.
So scale house and scales
Everything's good.
That location's okay.
As you move further east from our property, you get to the scales, you're above the flood area. And we was above the flood area where we built it, but just in case the state
Okay.
said, hey,
They changed the
we
rules.
changed the rules, now you gotta be 2 foot above. We went in and put 30 inches of
Okay.
dirt, compacted it, took it all
Alright.
the way up. So
And also in the transfer station, the waste building, whatever, that back wall looks pretty rough.
that's why we're building a whole new one. It's right on the loader, looking through it.
Yeah, it looks like you could use to thin the pigeon herd down just a tad too.
Yeah, he's,
Wow. There's a lot of pigeons out there.
yeah. Yeah, I think it was around 140,000 to fix that back wall. So we're
Wow.
gonna do another.
Yeah,
building.
it's beat up pretty good. They weren't very easy on it.
No,
You can stop when the bucket gets to that wall, you can stop.
and we took 6 inches off that 14-inch wall before it caved in, but that's how the bucket was rubbing against it. They took 6 inches of concrete off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think that's,
Yeah, just some observations. I listened, but I
That's
didn't
the
quite
reason.
know what's going on until you go out and see it.
okay.
Okay, I have no meetings I can think of. Anything from the public? Okay, good. Everybody's reviewed the payroll changes and sheriff's report.
Yes.
I have a question on the sheriff's report.
Yep.
The front page. Fees collected and mileage collected. How do we?
We charge mileage when we go serve a notice from another
Similar.
county.
Yeah. And it's, at the
Okay.
current, I think it's the federal rate. I think it's,
Mileage?
yeah.
And so the fees are actually that wages part of it?
Yeah, we charge
And then
so
the
much to
okay.
serve.
All right, cool.
That's what you learn, is that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, with that. We'll jump ahead to Vicky if she's ready.
Sure, I just came over because I wasn't sure.
Okay. We got a very short agenda, so.
That's what I saw, so I thought we'll just go early. So, did Selena give you the copy?
You probably did. We just haven't had.
That's okay.
I'm not-
Well, I
The
received.
hander outer is. Now we got it.
I received one of those notices. Cody McCleary, I think must be passing down his mobile home park to his son Hunter. So this is for Hunter McCleary. And it's in an abandoned mobile home, he says, in the park. Attached to the notice that I gave you, I have the total amount of taxes owing on that mobile home, which are $2,247. It's kind of like the third from the last page.
About 4 times what the trailers were.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then, the page right after that, the top part of the page gives you the number of years. There haven't been taxes paid on that since 2017.
Oh.
I also gave you a copy of all the mobile homes that are in Cody's name. He has not paid the first half taxes on any of those. And I also gave you on the last page, a list of all the mobile homes that are in the 3 different Woodland Mobile Home Park names that it's been in over the years. And a lot of those have county held tax sales on them. I brought all of that because I have no right to go on that property to make sure that those are the right mobile homes that are there. Assessor's office doesn't do anything with mobile home parks. I don't know if Cody McCleary is renting out those mobile homes that are not in his name. I think something needs to be done, but I don't know what.
Well, I know it's gonna cost your taxpayers money, and that's the only thing I haven't made that, point is,
We've got.
7 years have been working on this.
Yes, and I printed that list and we've got $100 and some thousand worth of delinquent mobile home taxes of these mobile homes and parks. Half of those may not be there anymore. You know, these mobile homes and this particular one that is supposedly in the name of Patricia Weaver. My problem with these, if we go to this court hearing, if the county puts in, say they want to stop him from getting it as abandoned, then the county has to take a title to it. Then we assume responsibility. So we've never wanted to do that in the past, but.
We should remove that trigger, and that's where to stop this whole thing, because this is $3,000 again, and we probably before, it was $3,000 on that trailer before.
Well, and there's been more than just one. There's
Yeah.
been probably 5 or 6 that Cody did this with, that the taxes got wrote off. And then he gets them in his name and now they sit there.
I went
The
around.
problem with it though is, if you go, the county that takes it and removes it, then you're just allowing them to have a free lot, clean lot to go bring another one in.
So
I mean, it's kind of a
I know, that's. what you're-
double-edged sword.
Yeah, and I don't know where to go with it, but I know something needs to be done, so that's why I wanted to bring all of that to your attention. To see what you wanted to do about it.
I started going around, this is your list, I
Yeah.
went around to the, few of them, and I wrote down, there was a trailer on that lot. But, and there was a lot of them that I couldn't figure out which lot was,
Yeah,
but
because you don't know which lot's what.
I'll go through this again, and when I got some time, like a Sunday, I'll just drive through and write down. Finish this up, I just kind of quit going on it.
Well, there's so many of them,
Busy, yeah,
you know, and the bad thing is all you can do is drive by them and see, okay, there's a blue mobile home sitting there. Well, we might show there's a blue mobile home there, but we don't know that that's the same.
Some of them are numbered, not all of them, but some.
They might be, the bad thing is, we don't have, we go by what lot they say, so like you might come in and say mine sits at lot 2, and Chris will come in and say his sits at lot 2. We have to put what you say, because we have no
and they'll
idea.
move them,
Yeah, and they move them from lot to lot.
that's how
so
they
it's
get
like-
what they don't pay, that trailer's gone.
So.
There's a VIN number on them trailers.
Yes,
But you have to take the skirting off to get up on the front strut to read it. And I don't know if I want to crawl anything in them trailers, but.
well, see, and that's my thing is, do I have the right to go on that property to do that? You know, it's like zoning or the assessor, they have the right to go on people's property to do that stuff. I, as the treasurer, don't have that ability, so I can drive through the park and look at the color of them, but I can't go on them and look at the VIN. You know, because I don't know that I have that right.
Yeah, I
So
think
that's
the
my.
real estate that only if invited.
See, yeah, well, it's like, I'm kind of between a rock and a hard
Now,
place.
what's the state working on? They was working on a statewide. Fix, we're not in one county and talking to them up there, it's just as bad in Polk County it is. in
Every
Washington
county has problems with this.
And they're working on something.
Well, they've been working on things for years
It
on
can't
this.
be leased land, what I heard.
And I have not heard what it is
Yeah.
right now that they're going through, because they've been working on this for years. They wanted to try and get it where the landowner had all the taxes for all the mobile homes, and then we didn't have these separate, and they've been trying things for years to try and fix this, and,
Trailers are very important for.
oh, absolutely, I mean,
Because I lived in one for 5
I
years
did
growing
too.
out of school, and I wouldn't have been able to afford a house.
I'm not saying we need to get rid of
But
them.
we gotta
but we need to
somehow,
Figure out a way to do this.
so what way do we have? What can we do different we're not doing to hit this earlier? I don't know if they don't pay right away, do we somehow put?
Well, I'm trying to get it where if they don't pay their mobile home taxes, we put a stop on the renewals. But we're running into the problem where we send out letters to everyone. Send out letters to everyone telling them, hey, we show you have delinquent mobile home taxes. If these don't get brought up, we're gonna put a stop on your renewals, you know, because other counties have done that. Problem we're running into is we're getting people coming and saying, well, I sold that 3 years ago, never got transferred to the new owner. Why should my license get stopped? And so I don't want to stop this person's license because they don't own it anymore. So there's where I haven't done it yet. Because it's not this person's fault. Their renewals shouldn't be stopped when this person over here is
Yeah,
not
but if
transferred.
you stop the renewal, that I bet the problem would get fixed.
And that's what but it's like, can I stop this person's
Yeah.
because they say they sold it to this person? Can I stop the person that
Yeah.
bought it? Cause I have nothing that shows that they bought it.
So as of right now, on Halloween, this goes to court,
Mhm.
and if the county doesn't step up, my assumption is he'll get the judgment, so technically he'll get the trailer back.
Automatically.
You'll get the trailer as it being an abandoned mobile home in the park. Taxes will get abated and then it will,
If we don't show up.
if we don't show up. If someone, so if you wanna go to the board meeting or the court hearing and show up and say, hey. We don't want this to happen, then they will tell you what we need to do. In the past, I talked to Adam Parsons on one of these for Cody, and he said we would have to take title to it. And then do something with it, the county would have to assume ownership. So we haven't done that in the past, because when you go out and look at the mobile home. You fall through the floor, they're not worth it,
Do we know,
but I don't know about this one.
do we
I haven't
know,
looked at
is it the one that's highlighted here on the last page? Is it that one? That this is,
It is, the one we're talking about is the one that's. It is, this one is the one we're talking about.
so do we know the lot? number?
I don't know it all right off the top of my head. I don't think it shows on this, but I can find out what
Or
would
a-
go.
Parcel number or something.
There is no parcel number because the mobile home and the mobile home park goes by the VIN.
Thing.
Yeah, but I can get you the lot number when I go back to the office.
I mean, I can only assume what it's gonna look like, but if you can get the lot number and email me and I can swing out and at least look at it.
Yeah, because it looks like on his court thing, it says lot 23.
But if the county assumes the trailer, then we're not gonna get paid for the
Taxes
back
anyway.
taxes anyway.
And then you're gonna have the mobile home,
Deal with it.
you're gonna have to deal with it. But I don't know how else to stop
To get
them from getting all these mobile homes that they get in their
They
name.
do it all the
taxes. They do.
Every house out there he's got 9 of them out there.
Let's see, I got the list.
But if he gets it back in his name, is.
Then he turns around and says,
Not abandoned, but the city has a derelict building ordinance that, no busted windows, no
He's got 11.
doors.
no.
County doesn't have anything like that to enforce.
We do have ordinances on that, but a mobile home's a little bit. Because it's mobile home
The city was going after him.
and same way,
It wasn't habitable.
The city
You
takes-
gotta get rid of it.
we can take this, but this is a little different. The value of resale is virtually not. See, on the city, you take derelict building, you end up getting it back. And then you can get some money for derelict building. Now, the mobile home way, I understand, does not fall into that grant opportunities. And to fix them up like you can get derelict building.
We forced this one out here to remove some. We said that we took them to court, so there's no cleaning them up. You have to get rid of them, period.
Well, if
And they
they're this condition, we oughta. I'm thinking is that we when they don't pay their taxes, maybe we ought to make it where they can't rent it.
And that's you, yeah,
But I don't know.
I
It's, and then he's the one that's gonna say, I don't have time for that, because it's gonna be huge.
That's a lot of work for a trailer.
Yeah, but right now, we have $100,000 of people. Last I knew, I don't think you allow me not to pay taxes on any of my properties.
Well, they go to tax sale, and these go to tax sale, but nobody wants
Nobody
to buy
wants
a
them.
mobile. I mean, nobody buys the mobile homes. So therefore, the county ends up with a certificate to them.
With the value of scrap, because aluminum's up right now.
That I can't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're talking hundreds of dollars and thousands of labor to get rid of it.
But to get rid of a problem is
Oh, yeah.
better.
Yeah, cause what we've been
Oh, right.
doing hasn't been working.
It ain't working, we're just
Do
doing.
it, change.
So I'm wondering if we can hire somebody to come in and do 4 of them at a time. I don't know.
I just know this one, I think this one is lot 23, Sean, because on the court document, it says lot 23, but I'll double check it when I go
Okay.
back to the office and make sure that's right. Because on the second page of the court document, in the plaintiff, section, it says lot 23.
I think we did that. I think the city did that. They hired a company to come in and demolish and dispose of it.
What, remember what that cost?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, to be honest with you.
I heard the price like $2,000.
Yeah.
But
1800.
isn't it worth us to do this instead of keep putting it back into the system? Because what he does, he goes in and puts a Band-Aid on it, he resells it.
Is
And then
there,
we
is
go-
there a way you can restrict? Since the taxes haven't been paid on that particular spot, to prevent them from dragging another one in there to.
I don't know on
That's
that.
an Adam question.
That'd be an Adam
It's
question.
a good question,
There's a
but
lot
I
of
don't know.
questions there.
Yeah, I think
But
this
we gotta
is a big
quit
Adam
giving these trailers back.
Well, that was my big thing, is because Cody has 11 mobile homes in his name, and I know half of those are ones that he did this abandoned process with, and we wiped off the taxes with him, and he hasn't paid the first half taxes on them. And
Can you stop his renewal?
I can stop his renewal, but I think what our legal notice said they had to be
Yeah.
delinquent, so they had to be delinquent so long, and he's caught up to first half. First half's only a month delinquent, so I can't stop it yet. But there lies my problem, because he'll come in and say, well, I sold that to them and they didn't transfer it.
That's,
Then there lies my
We heard it
problem.
here, people
Yeah.
living in it, that he
That's
didn't
your
even know they
problem.
was living
that's
there.
not my problem, that's your problem.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, do I stop your renewal? Then you've got to get that, it's like,
Yeah. follow up with the paper.
So I gotta.
I'll get a hold of
check
Mike,
with
so I'll see what that cost,
Okay,
and I'll get back to you hopefully today.
Let's get.
That argument doesn't hold up when I'm driving a car down the street and the sheriff pulls me over and says, this isn't in your name. Oh, well, I told the car, they don't care.
so I mean, and I, you know, I could put the stuff, I haven't got all the letters back from people yet, so I'm still waiting on
Well, I
that.
hate to put stops till we find out.
We may have.
That's me, it's like, I wanna make sure I do it,
We gotta do our job.
We need to do
We're not
something
doing our
different.
job by what we're doing.
We need to.
We're so scared it's gonna cost us money. We gotta get over that. We gotta fix the problem. I'm like everybody else. I just don't wanna spend money to spend money, but we gotta stop this, cause it's gonna be back on the tax sale. We know it is.
oh yeah.
It's so bad to repair.
Well, and the county's gonna end up with the county, the certificate
Or
of
he's,
it.
or he's gonna take the trailer and slap some cheap windows on it
He would.
and rebrand it.
Yeah,
He'll never take the expense to get rid of it.
we have the one trailer coming in a lot on the left-hand side on the second drive that I've been out there twice.
And looked at.
And it's still there and it's sold to somebody else. And I went out there cause you had me go out there
Yeah.
before. And it's the same trailer that's coming back on tax sale. It is terrible.
I know, so I don't know what the easy answer is. So I wanted to bring that to you guys, so you guys could tell me what to
Well,
do.
Let me talk to Mike, see what it costs. And then I'll get back to you and then maybe we have to do an Adam question and see if we're doing it the right way.
Okay. And I'll double check the lot number and I'll email that to you, Sean. Make
Great.
sure that 23 is right.
I'll take a swing out and look at it.
Okay,
back till next Tuesday.
all right,
I'll have something hopefully today.
okay, and I'll get back with you with the lot number and, all right, thank you,
Thank you for coming over.
yeah.
So suppose you're Adam today?
No, he's coming. The scale is broke at the transfer station again. I don't know how long it's gonna be down.
Yeah.
All right, I'll double check it. But now I just got notification that DNR's not gonna allow them to burn out there at the sale barn, and they wanna bring all of that to us. We can't handle it. Same type of thing happened on the development of the solar farm. We received no warning. And then all this showed up. So somehow the powers that be, development groups, supervisors, city, your failure to plan can't become the transfer station's problem.
We can't fix it.
And,
They gotta take it from my.
we can't hold that much. We can't haul that much, and we hire hauling like we did for the transfer, or for the solar farm. We don't make any money because we pay it all out in hiring additional trucking. So anyway, I just wanted to make you aware, I just got this phone call as of 4 o'clock yesterday, they were still gonna burn. Now this morning, not.
Is that what they was doing in front of the cell barn, burning? And the fire
Yeah,
department came by?
that was Saturday and then the fire department was called out because the winds were gonna pick up. And they put it out because the wind was gonna be too ferocious, so
So.
that was why it was stopped Saturday, I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock. something.
We can burn debris in town.
Well, that's, the council
Huh.
just kinda,
They said no, DNR said no, and
I was shocked when I seen that.
the guy with the, that they had talked about dragging it onto the county side of the back of the property that Ken owns, but, Ken said no. He's let others burn there, I guess, but, so anyway, we've got a problem this week. And it doesn't help with the scale down, and I have no idea how long it's gonna be down. We can't really use the elevator, because they're swamped.
Now, the city involved in this?
I'm getting all this information from my.
They have to figure out trucking to Milan direct on our account. And then
You'd think whoever bid it to get rid of it.
He did it to burn it.
but how it started was, Steve Yeakel was gonna knock it down and Steve. His deal was, well, I'll just pick it out back and burn it and da. Well, then the other people bid it and somehow the word got out that, oh, I guess we can just burn it. That's
I couldn't
what
believe
I
it burned right
understood.
in town. I thought, yeah, that's new.
Did you sign the check?
Yes.
So,
So anyway,
You want me to call Mike?
I told him, this isn't gonna work for us.
I gotta haul it directly to Milan.
That works.
Okay,
Thanks. See
thanks.
ya.
I'll call Mike.
Okay, Brian.
Oh, Brian. I don't have anything near as exciting to talk about.
Oh, come on.
I can talk. You saw me talk for an hour
Yeah,
about nothing.
actually, it was a pretty good meeting.
That's what I
Gotta be a
These are
politician.
just some of the notes I'm gonna talk about today, so you have a copy. I got more details.
Since I've heard most of this, I'm gonna go out and make a call.
I need him to nod yes and all this.
Okay, yes.
I'll get the ball.
Not really. And then, this is some detail that's gonna be in a book I'm gonna give you anyway. I got my wife printed it twice. It's for, this is gonna pertain to you guys a little bit. But only as you see fit. Yep. Oh, it gets getting better and better and better. This is the binder I had ready for the EMA commission meeting and LEBC meeting, and I thought you might want a copy. I'll get you one.
Okay, I'll just use Brad's for right now.
Have that too, we'll check where the meetings.
Good.
But, so I'll just keep going on this, because there can be a lot to talk about, and we can go over it. Working right down the list. The first paper they gave you says Senate File 750. What that is, Senate file from the state level, the restructuring of, how the emergency management commission memberships are engaged, and the commission membership itself, and then also how it's funded. So last year, they put it out for a vote about having all the board of supervisors in, all the mayors and the sheriff, and then the president of every school board. And that just seemed kind of weird, and nobody really understood that. And then the sheriff didn't get a vote. He was gonna be mandatory chairman, but then didn't get a vote on the commission. And so that didn't pass, so they restructured, to basically just say all the board of supervisors of every county would be on their commission, which still makes no sense. But they can designate alternates and that kind of stuff. So that's not so worth shattering. But the hard part is just getting people to show up to these commission meetings anyway. But then also though, another important piece of that is how they're restructuring that it's funded, the emergency management agencies are funded. So right now, we get a stipend from FEMA through the state to us, a little bit of help, but then the rest of it just comes out of the budget comes out of the general fund, I believe. If that's right, I don't know, to me, does that sound right? When I submit my budget for EMA, it comes out of the general ledger, general fund. So what this Senate file says, and then that will be a direct line out of the tax line somehow. It's sit right on the tax. That stuff I'll need help understanding. I'm sure there'll be more information coming out about that. I'm probably correct to the auditor about how this is gonna happen. And so, for instance, it won't come out of the general fund anymore. There'll be a special line item right out of however taxes you collect from the county. So that's just gonna be some maneuvering on the auditor's end, but also then think of how that's done now. Whatever's left over in the EMA budget stays in the fund. And we run a very tight budget. We don't ask for anything extra. But if I come under budget, then that money just stays in the EMA fund. It does not roll back to the county. Well, I assume that if it's a special line item right out of the county taxes, that whatever's left over at the end of the year would roll right back to the county. See what I mean? I would assume that. But then at that transition moment, there will be leftover money in the EMA cash fund. And right now it's showing us about $70,000, but we're only in the first quarter of the year, so that will spend down to about 55,000 probably. If this transition happens, there will be $55,000 sitting in a fund that can't roll back to the county. We have to figure out what to do with that. There might be a way to roll back, but probably not. They might get an opportunity to buy a truck or something with that money. I don't know.
Brian?
Yeah.
And in that case, what you would do during budget time, you would take that amount that's gonna be left and you would budget that, so that would be pulled into your budget for the next
For the
year.
expense, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But we gotta iron that out and say, I mean, if that, what's left over in that fund, so
Mhm.
not to be rolled back to the county, I would leave it up to you guys to make that decision, because it's county money. Or if it can't be rolled back, We'll still spend it for county good, but just gotta figure out how to spend that down. But that'd be good. I mean, that way, whatever's left over in the end of the year, it just goes right back to the county. And I've been a pretty good steward of the dollars where I'm always under budget on everything I do. But then, so the other piece I want to share with you in that booklet itself, this is the booklet I had, this binder for the EMA commission meeting and the LAPC meeting, you know, and the reason I had to put it in a binder, because there's information you see in there is a new requirement from FEMA. But, so they want to have this national qualification system, which emergency managers have to participate with and prove proficiency in, specifically emergency operation centers. So if we had a big disaster, we opened up an emergency operation center. There are functions in there that need to be staffed and housed and accounted for. We have never had to mess with that yet. We've never had the need to open an emergency operations center to that degree, and most counties do not. So this is some heavy duty FEMA requirement. The reason it's in this binder like this, the first group of information talks about the national qualification system. The second batch of that information is specific to the skill sets about opening an emergency operations center. And all that information you get to read. And lastly is the qualification review board, which is you guys. The EMA board commission, the EMA commission will be the qualification review board. It's very detailed stuff. They're not in the 3 rings, but in the very back is the descriptions of how that will work too. For instance, all those skill sets that have its own little worksheet. There's probably 16 worksheets that we got to work through, but we're going to pick the first 4. That Homeland Security said we'll just work on the first 4. That'd be like a 4-year project just to get to that. So you just pick that skill set and whatever those words are, half of this doesn't even apply to us. But they'll let us use real world events like COVID. Okay, during COVID, we had an emergency operations center open and we did these things. And then we just have a commission member sign off on it. So it'll just be an exercise that we have to work through. The consequence is if we don't finish this, it'll affect the EMPG, which is the grant that we get from the state, from the feds through the state every year, which is about $22,000 in the Louisa County. That helps roll back into emergency management. Let's say we didn't participate in this, that would be a jeopardy. So I mean, in this booklet, it lists all the training I've already been through, hours and hours and hours and days and days and days of training, which I've already done over a 2-year period. Well, now this is a new requirement, new and improved and exciting. So I'll give you details more about it. They're gonna have workshops on that and how we finish this up too.
Well, say that a little more exciting.
Yeah. We'll get through it. I describe back to him and say most of these big words don't even apply to what we do, even on a good day. So at the emergency management commission meeting we had on the 19th, I had this packet of vests, each vest with planning chief, logistics chief, public information chief, all these different safety persons. Each person has a role. We need to put a body in each one of those vests. But in that packet too was a checklist of what the responsibilities are. So that's just what FEMA thinks that we do. If you look at the big disasters, Katrina or big fire, and you see the big FEMA tent set up in response, they're wearing those vests because they're in a big response. Smaller response, we don't fill it. We still have to fill those seats, about half of them, but we don't go to that degree. But the expectation is that they had to roll down here, that we know how to do that stuff. That's what they're telling us. Disaster starts local and ends local, but so if they have to get involved and they come down, they want to talk to the planning chief, they want to talk to the logistics chief. But that's different terms for us at the local level. And state of Iowa Homeland Security, they know that. We're trying to figure out how to make this real and relevant, I guess.
Did you talk about the deal where Minneapolis, they had basically a scale of this when they had the tornado hit in April, I think it was, that they had house to house search, went through and made sure they documented that the houses were cleared.
Yeah.
Went through the same thing on damage. You got people's, so there was a scale close to us home here that.
And that's what we could do. We could take an incident like that, let's say. And when he's talking about when the tornado happened in Mount Pleasant, I went there and Minneapolis, and I helped the Des Moines County EMA and just stood at the command center there, instant command trailer, and the fire chief is assigning duties and. You know, maybe Yarmouth Fire would go in, he assigns them a section, and they went through and cleared the whole town, well, not enough damage, but they cleared the whole town quickly. And it was well structured and implemented, and then they said, do it again, so everybody traded and everybody cleared the whole area again. Very effective, and so that's an EOC, oh, that's in the field, right? We did that off the back of a tailgate, that's how that happens, we don't open up the EOC right now. I don't even really ever see us doing that unless it's like you guys went through the flood of Oakville. You did open the EOC and you had daily meetings. When it starts rolling up bigger like that, people take on a different role. When I came into City of Wapello and I talked about debris removal, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, the logistics planner. And big one is finance. Start keeping track of this stuff. How much is this costing us? That's a big one in any disaster, big or small. How much is this costing us? We need to assign people to do that. But I'm gonna work with the counties, I mean, the cities, I'm going back out to city councils and we're trying to emphasize that need. But to keep moving on that, I talked about it, we gotta do this because it will affect the money we get. It'd be 22,000. Other grants I'm working on, 2 grants that involve the Southeast Iowa Region Planning. One of them being the hazard mitigation plan. And they will be helping with that because it involves a lot more research by community and community engagement, and they plan to come down and help with that. It's usually groups like that that architect these kinds of plans. So we've engaged them to manage that grant and the whole application process and the whole plan itself, right? The plan. And so I'm working with Jordan. I can't even pronounce the last name down there. We're back online with that. And similarly, Jordan is going to help now because of a presidential declared disaster for the recent weather we had. The complex generator opportunity is back. And so he's working with that grant as well. So that grant really has nothing to do with me. I'm just the one to kind of kick that off.
Oh, we have a generator?
Yes, I have two generators already. So on the jail end, they have a relatively new generator that supplies power to the jail and
Dispatch.
And dispatch, correct. But the other end of the building, the old county home area, has the original generator in it from about 1970 or so. It functions well, but if it goes down, you can't get parts for it. We were taking an opportunity during COVID to say, okay, well, we'll get a grant for new generator upgrade. Because since then too, we moved public health in there, and the need for backup power for vaccines was critical at that time. And it still is. So the generator in there now does not supply full power to that whole end of the building. It just does a few lights and a boiler system. And a boiler and a water system. The other jail.
Okay.
So we were looking for a generator to provide backup power to the entire facility.
Outside the building and.
Yeah. And so George's gonna help kick that back off. I mean, the reason I involved him is it's a lot of work trying to make sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed when you ask for federal money. He's helping that.
And it would be on LP instead of.
Direct
Diesel.
line to the LP tank outside. Getting rid of that old diesel. And then I had submitted a grant from your suggestion to the Canadian Pacific Railroad for a new drone specific to train derailment incident management. Bigger drone, more powerful, and a simple $25,000 request. And they sent me an email saying, sorry, we regret to inform you.
It was wrong.
Yeah. I tied it back to in-trail train derailment. There's specific training for that. Specific equipment, and still they did not buy off on that. So that grant request was declined. Working on another grant for an ID printer that prints out badges like this. Printer through the community foundation. This system is called the Salamander system that's going to play a bigger role in our response. So that is to be determined if we qualify for that.
We didn't have one of those when Stacy was here, because she
Yep.
printed me a badge.
Yep, and since I print them now, they become faded and it's a printer error. And the printer's old enough, it's
Okay.
unsupported like everything else.
Okay.
So we're trying to get a new
I
one.
just come across my badge the other day.
Yeah, actually, it's public health that could and should sponsor that. They've offered in the past to help with that. Because it's in the public health. They help with the initial grant to buy the system. And since then, some of the hospitals have written it in their emergency plans that EMA would show up and do that system for them. Well, if it's in their plan and they're insisting on it, they will help.
How much is that printer?
About $3,000. So we're getting a new laptop, that's coming out of my budget, new laptop and software upgrade. And so I'm just looking for help for a printer. I don't have enough money for a printer in my budget. At that same time, the community foundation, I learned that you can submit and nominate of the 501(c)(3) to be a recipient of another type of award the community foundation gives out. So I nominated the Louisa Muscatine Disaster Coalition. That's a group we've been working on. Cindy Mears from our group was helping with that. We're going to bring in some more flyers. We go up to Muscatine, we interact with all those human services type folks, the Red Cross, Salvation Army, all those people. To include but many more. Their sheriff is involved, their city people are involved, and it's a big step up. But so just got their 501(c)(3) status. And then with this money, I'm hoping, for instance, the community foundation said, if they receive that, that could be $8,000. So that'd be an $8,000 Kickstarter in this 501(c)(3) for immediate disaster relief. So if disaster happens, we gotta look for money. Well, this money would be sitting there for residents to help with residents or whatever we need during emergency, and then we can get that reimbursement process working later. But so this is a very active group. United Way is hosting this, and the gal there, Hillary Hinkey, is doing a great job. So we have right here the resource guy. So if it happens and floods or whatever, we start moving people. We'll kick this into gear. Cindy and I are good members of that. And similarly, though, that's a good plan, good process, good engagement from the bigger city, right? So if they have something happen, we couldn't do much to help them, but it's good to have a big partner like that. But similarly, then the lessons learned is that then we come back to a smaller community like us, realize we kind of need to be prepared to take care of ourselves for a while, maybe beyond the disaster. So coincidentally, working with Cindy again, we have a ministerial association here where all pastors get together and have a chit chat. That kind of goes aligned with before COVID. I had a whole email list of all the pastors, and I'm just chatting and saying, if I can get a hold of you, 10 or 12 people, you can get a hold of hundreds and hundreds of people. That was going to work well. So we're kind of reinstating that. We've got some training coming up in November. And so the ministerial group's going to be there. It's FEMA sponsored training for faith-based organizations in disaster. So we're the ministerial group, we're going to meet, have lunch, and we're going to learn to start taking care of ourselves local. So we're not all trying to feed people. We're not all trying to give clothes. We're going to kind of find that. Yeah, bringing that response kind of local, back home locally. But you know, that fund I keep talking about though, that would not be a bad idea if the county would kick in like $1,000 a year into that disaster fund. So if one of our communities got blown off the map, we could lean on that fund hopefully to say, well, we need $10,000 immediately, and we might be able to borrow from that fund or use that fund like that. It's almost like a good insurance policy, if you guys decided to do that later on. I'll circle back and talk about that different time.
Something, budget time.
So that's local preparedness also, and some of this local preparedness, I'm doing some community outreach. The other night I was over at the library, teaching everybody over there how to sign up for the notification alerts, Louisa alerts. We didn't have a lot of participation because we didn't have a lot of advertising, but we're going to start making that happen. I'll start going to each community to do that. I got pulled out of there that night though, because I used the drone in Oakville. So it was kind of a short meeting, but similarly though, I'm already on the agenda for a next Grandview City Council meeting. I'm going to start making my circuits back around. I think I need to redesign how I engage or even do my job. I got to spend more time with city councils. I need to start going out. That's how I'm going to get engaged, and they know who I am and talk about local plans. That's it for EMA. We had the LPC meeting the same night we had this EMA meeting. The LPC meeting is twice a year. We talked about trains, anhydrous, and pipeline. Because that has to, the whole LPC has to do with hazardous materials that's on the road or on the rail. So we just did a recap on the train incident response training. We started September 11th. Actually, before that, we had September 11th. We're doing another one in January in Letts. And then in the March or so in the spring, we'll be doing a hands-on training down in Mid-America Energy Plant. Then it's kind of my vision to take that a step further and quit talking that tabletop exercise, but hopefully do a full scale simulated evacuation of maybe like a city of Letts. That's just my thought. That's not their thought yet. So a lot of engagement. Some people say, well, we're not quite ready for that, and I agree. So it can be just an exercise in accountability. Kind of like they did in Minneapolis. So we could say, here's an exercise, go, fire department goes into, leaps into action, law enforcement. And they do what they do, but then I gotta do what I do and set up the salamanders. So if we evacuated residents, everybody gets a badge and just that whole process. And maybe we don't move everybody out of town, but we could. But we just go make sure everybody gets a badge and we could make accountability door to door. Did we contact everybody? And part of that is me getting everybody signed up to receive their alerts. That's a big step, but we gotta just go past tabletop exercise. We really gotta start doing something meaningful. And so then another piece of the LAPC, we talked about anhydrous specifically. This is the time of year we talked about how it moves through the county on small trailers and big storage and effects it can have on a community. Wapello elevator was represented by safety manager Mike Brown, and he talked a little bit about that. We showed a little video on how anhydrous can have an effect on surrounding area. And they're making steps to improve how they transport. They're putting some new signage on their trailers, I believe. So I've got a good partner out there. I was glad to see Wapello elevator there. Everybody else time of year, they're busy. They're not coming. If they got a minute, they're busy. The last thing was just about pipeline safety. Be working with Kinder Morgan a little bit better. We're going to try to be pinning the 911 locations on every wellhead. We'll have an address to the road back to wellhead. There might be 3 separate wellheads back on that road. So we'll pin an address to each one of those. So we can drive right to one if we need to. And then last part about that is Paradigm Safety. Pipeline Safety is having their training tonight at the River Center. I'm attending that, and usually fire departments go to that. They're having supper. We're evaluating their supper, that's what we're doing. Then, so moving over to 911, we had a 911 service board meeting on October 17th. We had our typical discussions about how we buy radio equipment. That's always interesting conversation. But more importantly, then we discussed, and you guys have a copy of it. I gave you it's up from Taylor Collins' newsletter, his October newsletter. That's a discussion regarding information about how the surcharge fund is growing and building in every county across the state. So the state legislature looking at, they look at that like a surplus the counties aren't spending. But in actuality, we're trying to growing our funds so we can be prepared for some very costly upgrades that are coming. So, and for instance, for our service board, our average annual ending fund of the year is about 550,000. So right now it'll show 700,000, but we're again in the first quarter of our fiscal year. We'll spend that back down about 550, and that looks like an extra chunk of money that the state can say we could do something with that. Well, that is actually money that people in our county have paid from their phone bill. That $1 surcharge fund, that's what builds these funds. So I don't want to see them take money away from us or alter that money. That's tax people are paying for 911 service in our county. And for them to alter that is, I think, something needs to be addressed. I did reach out to Taylor, and he's heard about that part, even though it's in his newsletter. He did not write the newsletter. That comes from the legislative board or state up there, and then all the legislative representatives, they put their letterhead on top of it and they send it. So he's going to look into that more. And his advice was that that's a concern for us to be very vocal. So I've written a reply back to him that he can share up the stream. I've shared it with our service board and Brad, all you guys. I've shared it with all you guys too. I think it's important though that we protect that fund. Because if they were to take that fund and alter the money that the county people are paying into that and redirect that somehow, well, then that's okay. Maybe still going to 911 service somewhere at the state level. But then when it comes time for radio equipment and we had to bond for radio equipment, we had to tax the residents again, plus the money they're already paying. So I just want to make sure that they're clear on where that money is going and what it's used for.
And it's being saved for our new dispatch system, which goes, so it's not for just emergency, it is for a service that we have, and it's $750 to $1 million. And then if we put transponders out in the county, it could be a $3 million project.
Yeah.
And this is about every 10 to 15 years, the system needs updated. So it's not just a one-time lifetime deal. It's about every 10 to 15 years that we have to do something to update our equipment.
Yeah.
So this is not just a one-time expense. So they don't understand that there's 53 million in there, but if just our small county alone, we would take about 3.5 million of that 53 for all the 99 counties. And we're not the only county that's in that problem.
Other lots, there are other small counties right now that got engagements, they leaked out, they bought the equipment, they bonded for it in their communities. And now here they are circling back around, even the service contracts are pretty heavy duty.
Yeah, Lee County just did a bond, right?
I think Lee County might have been at about $11 million.
$11 million to update their system.
Cedar County just pulled the triggers on there at 6.2 million. And so just do the math there, yeah. It's just, and so we were trying to ease into this whole program, let's just replace our critical component of servers, let's say, for the radios and the dispatch. And that price has gone up because that's the 2019 first bid, second bid 2023 was about 450,000. Well, we have a $550,000 cash balance in the year, so that's gone. And then that's better than money to operate 911 the next year past that. Well, it'd be a break even. We would start losing ground right there. Because then we would need to supply radios and handheld radios to fire and law. That gets very costly. I just don't think the legislators, they just need to educate it. They're not mean about it. I just think they need the education that this is very costly. And,
They just need to ask questions before they put a bill out.
and so I'm asking, it can't just come from me, my letter of response, it has to come from other concerned people in the county. Other than me. Last thing is, safety committee, we did have a citizen trip and fall, stumbled over an acorn, or some of the stuff falls out of the tree on our concrete over there. And they just graciously gave us awareness that, hey, through an email, I think to the auditor, that I tripped and fell, I hit my head or something, and Selena did a good job following up on that. But they didn't get any response back further. So I assume that person's okay, but Tracy, I see him out today, this blower now blowing off these debris off the sidewalks. It's a little bit overwhelming out there with that. And similarly, I submitted a grant like your suggestion for the defibrillators that we talked about. And so that's to be determined to see if we are awarded that or not. So that's to be determined. Then second, and the last piece of it, Adam here, he can help you with this, but I let Adam connect with the CPR instructor so they can work out a date. Because he's got the biggest population of employees in the county that would take this training, CPR and first aid and AED. And then whatever dates he can get for this, in summer time in November, then we just make it available to anybody in the county, employees that want it. The same training, we just patch it on those dates. But that is all I got. It always feels like a lot, I'm sorry to unload on you, but there's lots going on, good stuff.
Now we know. Well, okay, thank you, Brian. Adam, let's get your weekly update.
Okay. Not a lot to report today, where we've been on rock the last couple of weeks. Keep going through this week. I think next week we'll start saying getting our other pile mix that we got out there. Expecting anything, but always good to know doing the first weekend in November or something.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. So that's what most of the guys are on. Blade guys have had some rain, so they're out late a bunch. Guys are getting their right of mowing and truck cat work done this the next couple of weeks or so. On the office, I'm kind of getting started on budget a little bit. I'm looking at some equipment, looking at some bridge repairs and things like that. So nothing earth shattering happening out of the roads right now. So we do have. We're supposed to get the 160th paint stripe this week, but they had a breakdown in the truck, so it'll be next week. Is what they're saying.
See the car counts in place.
Yeah, I haven't got the results yet, but
There's Saturday, I seen this out there. I don't know if they're picking it up. Was it 2 weeks gonna be out for 2 weeks?
they were still out there this morning, so I think it started 2 weeks ago today, so yeah. That's planned, so. other than that, I don't know, a lot that's going on, I do have some meetings and things like that coming up, some church. Some training things and things like that, so. Any questions for me, or?
No, I don't.
All equipment's in.
Yep, yeah, all our equipment's in, we are gonna bring our new grader to the trunk or treat on Sunday, so that's kind of neat, cool, I guess. So. Other than that, I don't know a lot right now, so.
You gonna bring your insurance one over? Or?
They, we've been in contact with them, and they're going through their process of getting it, I guess, so. Other than that, lots of manure being hauled out there, which is always a taxing on the roads, I guess, with a big old, what, 8-wheeled machines out there. It was kind of interesting. Up in the Northwest, there was a contractor who brought in this piece of equipment, and it pumps up and over the road and back down the road, which is kind of neat. We've got a few pipes under the road and through the road, which is what we definitely prefer to do that easier on things and all that, so. I don't know, any questions for me, anything?
I got
Nope.
a couple more complaints on the stop sign this weekend, so.
Okay. Well, we'll get those reports done and make a decision.
Make a decision. Yep.
So,
Sounds good.
all right, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, Mike, is your report gonna take very long?
About, I can do it in about 30 seconds, couple of signatures, walk out, but.
Well,
No, they're not nerve shattering here.
okay,
Just a few new weeds that popped up this year that they're not considered noxious weeds yet, or invasive, well, they're invasive, but actually they're not classified yet, but I'm sure they're probably gonna become state list here in the next year or two. Sericea lespedeza, which I found in the county in a couple places. So. Yeah, but whenever, I can't do anything about it, I can't, it's on some public land, which I contacted that agency to say they have it on there, just to let them know. I can't enforce anything, but, had a few weed complaints this summer, had a big one over by Morning Sun, a lot of acres had to be mowed, and then the next step, hopefully they'll stay up on it, and they're gonna have to spray it all in the spring. But other than that, nothing.
so when those weeds go on the state list, then you're required to.
Well, if they're deemed noxious, then yeah, you're required, and I believe the supervisor can add their own also, if they want to. I'm not 100% sure. One other thing I guess that we should talk about is, if you look at the law about having a weed commissioner, it actually states the board shall state the time of year for a period of time. I don't know if that's documented somewhere. And if we have that somewhere where, can I only enter someone's property from March to September, or?
I don't know, one time there was a date, like
There was a date area, but I don't remember what it was.
So that's something, I don't know what it is, I guess,
I'll
so
look into that for you, Mike.
I'd like to not outstep my bounds or something or other,
but
Cause
but.
we should have some sort of agreement or.
Yeah, and I would assume you can make it 365 days a year, and then there's no problem,
no problem.
I guess.
I thought, with the previous weed commissioner, we signed a contract every year, and that was stated in it, these days.
This doesn't, yeah, this, the paper that you signed here. It says effective March 1st, it shall continue to a term established by the board of supervisors.
Okay,
So that's all this says here.
So bring the new guy up to speed here. So let's say you see a spot that has this,
So, yeah.
I know that
Yeah.
that's one that's on the list. You can enter that
Yes.
public and then does the county spray them or do you then
No,
notify the
no,
landowner?
we've never had to go that far as destroying them. Normally a knock on their door
Just say, hey,
or letter. I think we may have had to do a certified letter one time, you know.
and then they're responsible for taking care of it.
Yeah.
What if they don't?
Then you go certified letter and then you get the county attorney involved
Okay.
and then,
All right.
we either, I'm not probably going on there and doing it myself.
No, I
We'd
understand.
probably hire the elevator or someone like that.
I don't have anybody in mind. I'm
Yeah.
just asking
Yeah.
what the process
Yeah.
is. Okay.
But, you know, it's hard to, I may get a call about, hey, my neighbor got thistles all over his pasture, and I go out there and I have to see like 10 in a 40-acre pasture. I mean, that's kind of hard to,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to really get on them hard about that. you
Might
know?
just give them a little reminder
Yeah,
that they need to take care of it.
And then, you know, there's places that, you know, there's a few places that are, the DOT did get out this year and they did a pretty good job of, they got out there fairly early and they did get a bunch of their stuff done this year.
yeah, but they're behind the 8 ball.
They were behind a long way. Yeah.
State's usually the biggest violator.
And that's kind of what stemmed some of the people that I have complaints against that came out of their right of way, you know, and into their stuff.
We had a section up by Newport Corners for a couple of years that they just did.
Oh, yeah, well, some of the old, between the two, the old highway.
Yeah.
Up at Grandview Construction. Got complaints from a lot of farmers up there and had to kind of. Play hardball and they mowed all their thistles down on right away they bought and
Yeah.
hadn't done nothing with, which was in the midst of construction.
I actually sprayed a few teasel in there right away up by ours this year, just because it was right there, so.
Yeah.
But they do own a piece of land. I don't know why they still own it up there on the west side of 61.
Yeah.
Shows the DOT owns a piece of property there, and I see a handful of teasel in that this year, so. I don't know why they would still be holding on to that, but, so. There's one in the water, that purple loosestrike that kind of showed up here 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's beyond getting rid of at this point. The Mississippi River Islands are just covered in it. So, you know, I'm not covered, but a lot of it out there, so. You know, I don't know where that's gonna go, but. And then, the one that I noticed about Shatter King really made a pretty big presence this year. I see, yeah, pretty good farmers. It's not Shatter Cane, it's sorghum. They keep trying to, that's not. Yes, there is some sorghum out there in the beans, but no, this is not sorghum, but, so I'm kind of curious to see what a few farmers do next year to maybe get rid of it.
Well, I think that's where a drone might be the answer. That comes with a price tag.
Yeah. One farmer I know, I'm surprised he had it. He picked his beans around it, so he didn't go through it. I'm hoping he's gonna try to destroy it, I hope, some kind, but
I've got one there, yeah, he's formed around it, and I hope he destroys the seeds before the birds carry it off to my place, but.
You know, that, I assume it must be totally Roundup resistant now, I'm guessing.
No, it comes after you spray, it's a late,
Later.
or 2 inches in September, just fostered that kind of
Yeah.
weed pressure.
So, and we do have, another licensed applicator in the county now. This passed his test last week, so,
Secondary roads employee?
yeah,
Good.
yeah,
Good.
the Justin that works with me.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know if Adam told you, we were graciously given a job of spraying brush this year.
And we appreciate that.
And,
It came to a savings to the county.
I think I ended up about $7,000 worth of chemicals. I figured we come in somewhere around 20,000, somewhere in there. Instead of the 52 we were quoted or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's,
But we couldn't get a, you know, we don't have an ATV and I didn't have time. I couldn't pull the 200-foot hose around to the back, you know, what we could reach from the truck is pretty much what we did, you know, and all very wind dependent. We had to start early to get done, so you're gonna see a lot of mulberries that are dead on one side and live on the field side, because I wasn't gonna kill a bunch of guys' beans. Now, I had farmers say, I don't care if you kill some, don't worry about it, that's just less I gotta go do, but I had a hard time, you know.
your timing was right. I mean, the crop was made when you guys were
Yeah.
spraying.
Yeah. So, some of it turned out really, really well, some of it did not. That honeysuckle is going up there to your mom and dad's, did it kill quite a bit of that up the gravel road there?
It did pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a hard animal.
But-
That recipe that our former sprayer used, he had a regular rate, but when it come to honeysuckle, he dumps.
So
He had it down to a science.
I contacted the guy that I got the chemical from, and he gave me one that I could use, but I just, you know, it's a labeled toxic chemical, and I really don't want any part of that. The 3 I used are all be safe, whatever, you know.
Mhm.
They say Roundup's the best one to use to kill it. Go in after a frost and spray it while the other stuff, you know, the frost killed the other stuff. That honeysuckle will go for another month.
Yeah, it's gonna be,
And then you go spray it. I haven't tried any of that, but I don't know, that like I said, that's honeysuckle here is deader than a doornail, the one next to it, and I know we didn't miss it, you know? And it's got a few dead leaves on it and the rest is still green.
Hard to kill.
Yeah, so that's, like I said, whether we'll have time to do it in other years, you know, we just were lucky enough to have the time to do it
well,
this
and
year.
having the right weather with our wind.
Yeah.
is-
Yeah.
I run into it at my place. I know what you're up against.
So, you know, the weather, you know, and sometimes you can spray into this, it's weird, sometimes you can spray into the wind. And the next time you can't, the next time you think, oh, the wind's going this way, so I can really spray this way. No, it'll just hook back around, it's just a. So this is if you wanna read. And if you guys wanna look at it, sign it, I'll pick it up later, that's just all the weeds that are. That I found, I guess.
Since we're doing the other part where the trees and stuff that we had the other contractor doing, do we need to look at different type of equipment? To make it safer, better?
Yeah, I mean, our sprayer puts out a pretty big quantity of spray to reach out there, whereas if you had an ATV with a 100-gallon tank and you can drive down the ditch and you can drive right up to it.
Can we get a
And
remote
you
arm?
can mist it, right? Instead of, I gotta spray a pretty heavy stream to reach out there 30 feet, you know? So, so the road department's got that tractor and boom mower coming next spring.
Yeah.
Which is gonna help, but
I seen a
you can
truck
mow it
the
off
other
and
day
it
that had a
right back.
dome on the pasture window, and they had a rubber thing inside it, and moved just like a turret that's on the thing. That completely isolated them, and then it had a boom on the end. I seen the state had some land that was being sprayed, and the guy did it all from his truck, but they was in a
Yeah,
pretty tight.
so a lot of the bigger counties that have pretty big defined roadside vegetation department, that they do all the seeding, they do all the brush spraying, brush mowing. It's not the regular maintenance guys out there taking care of the brush, it's a separate department in the road department. We don't really have that, I guess. That's one of my comments on here, that
Looks like a page.
would help if we had a better roadside vegetation program in the county, I guess. Larry was always kind of the acting roadside vegetation manager. That allowed you to get some free seed and some stuff like that, but some of these counties, they have 3 to 5 guys and
Right,
that department only. And, you know, they've got a skid loader with a brush head, they've got a tractor with a boom mower, they've got automated spray systems, they don't hold their arm out of the window, it's got 17 nozzles on the spray, one for here and one for 30 feet out. And then, of course, ATVs and.
Yeah, I'd like to see the remote arms.
So Adam has given permission to start looking. For a something like that,
yeah, I think we're all on the same page there.
so. Cause there's areas that it'd be nice to blank, you're spraying the whole ditch, right? Just spray. And here we're holding a.
Yeah, you're sitting there,
We
we
gotta
got
get it.
spraying one
Someone's
tree.
gonna have carpal tunnel surgery someday because of. weed.
1950.
You know. But some cases that is needed though, you know, but they're like, I went to something, I did go to some kind of meeting in September. Some farm up north of Muscatine had a field day talking about invasive species, and a lot of it was more toward like people were trying to do timber restoration.
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
Improvements.
Yeah, timber stand improvements, some CRP, some flower stuff, whatever, but it's kind of neat, I guess. And one guy had Jones County had their spray truck there. It does have two, it has like a fan, not fan wand plus a gun you can shoot a long ways, and 17 nozzles up the side or whatever. It's mounted on the front bumper.
Yep, and I seen if they can move it.
I don't know if that one moved.
They have
I think
one
that
that
one might just
had
been
a
set.
deal that they can move.
Move it up and down.
Yeah.
It may move up and down.
Yeah,
Well, our talk with Two Rivers, they've got a tractor with a remote and it
Yeah.
carries like a 300-gallon spray.
I've
on it.
talked to him before.
That's what I'm personally kind of looking towards.
And then that's the weed commissioner.
Contract.
Yes, I'm all right with staying on, and you are,
Good,
yes.
yeah, I'm glad you've done a good job, and I want to thank you for what you've done this year.
yeah, cause I think we was around 50,000, it was like 45, and then they went to 55 or 60.
Yeah.
And they went- So we got some, I think we need to get some equipment to make this, safer
Yeah.
and also better coverage, cause just driving out there and having your hand out the window, I just don't like that.
You know, there was days like, I don't like filling that 200-gallon tank all the way, just for the weight and strapped to the back of the truck. I mean, that's all. It's not molded, it's not, you know, and 175 gallons and we'd be done in 2 to 3 hours, have that gone. Then you drive all the way back town, right? You know.
I got a spray buggy, it might work, that it's a big one that has booms on that go out. And I just wondered if something like that, would work if you're,
There's certain areas that, you know, an ATV with a boom would work great, you know. Gravel roads, it's not, you can reach pretty much
yeah,
all that, you
No matter how
know.
much right away we got.
But you know, we got some 150+ feet right of ways in some places and, you know, it's, I don't know, but I did have a conversation with Adam that, you know, maybe it'd be easier. We did like the gravel portions, maybe still higher every 3 years. Have a contractor hit the paved roads with the wider
something about.
right of ways or
But we
something
still
like
gotta
that.
have better equipment to do what we.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
we're
yeah,
going to do it, contract it out.
so. You know, yeah. About all I got.
Well,
Thank you.
So,
Thanks.
alright.
thanks for what you do,
Yeah.
Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, that concludes.
I got the update, Mike said it's $7,500 for 3 trailers, it comes out to $2,500 per trailer to, and that was 2020 pricing. On that, to get rid of trailers,
Oh, yeah, okay.
so I got that, so
I knew it was somewhere in there.
Vicky, you on there?
It's not really- she's
Kind of
We'll
there.
see.
While you're doing that, I got a little note here about the tax. What am I trying to say on our, she's on.
Oh, she doesn't have a mic.
Okay, but you heard that, it's 2,500 per trailer, so if we want to get a hold of Adam. And see what his thoughts are, if we do that, if it would help alleviate the problem, I think it would. But, cause like right now, we're $100 and some thousand of unpaid taxes, and the only way to get rid of it is do something different than what we've been doing, so. So if you have any questions, but it's 2,500 per, and imagine if I might get hold, Mike, get the address or the phone number, call the guy to see if there's a discount if we do multi-trailers.
Just Mike Delta.
Yeah, Mike Delzell, yep. All right,
Okay, thank you.
What did you have to say, Sean?
the EMS levy elections, I got a paper here that says, for special election for county. It's for county, it's an even numbered year. The first Tuesday in March, the second Tuesday in September, or the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, which is the general election. So we couldn't have done a special election this year anyway. It apparently has to be in an even numbered year, which would be next year.
Will be next March.
So we can do it March, September, or in November. If you want to do a special election, obviously the one in November wouldn't be a special election.
Have to. This thing, don't you? I think the sooner the better. I don't know how long.
He said the budget is already set in March, so election would be after budget set regardless if it's a special or a general.
So we have to amend our budget.
Yeah.
Can we shoot for March? That's my vote. What's your
Ask the
vote?
question.
Let's try our March.
We need to contact our county attorney for some guidance, but
So March of 2024, correct? Is when we're kind of shooting for.
we better start talking now. Cause that'll be
It's
before you know.
Well, let's get it scheduled and get it promoted.
Celine, you wanna have Susan contact Adam and try to, or
She
Bailey?
told me that you guys are gonna have to be the ones to contact Adam.
All right,
Are you gonna do that or?
I can do that.
Okay.
I'll see what we got going on.
Okay,
All right,
well, that concludes our agenda. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
second.
Okay, all in favor, aye. Okay. Any questions, Jim?
On this trailer thing, so if you can take